He's not a violent guy who's talking to people on college campuses. Wasn't even particularly rude. Who's tried to be pretty reasonable with people.
Everything I saw seemed reasonable.
He's a very intelligent guy.
Yeah.
You know, whether you agree with him or don't. And there's a lot of stuff that I didn't agree with him on. That's fine. You're allowed to disagree with people without celebrating the fact they got, whether it's Kennedy or RFK or, you know, you think of him in the past. You think of him like, you don't, when something happens in the current, like right now with this one with Charlie Kirk, it doesn't seem real.
No.
It seems very surreal.
It does.
It seems like
it does.
It's going to take a long time before we reference this as something that happened. It's a f***ed up time. People are so divided in this country. So divided. And there's so many people that love it. They love that we're divided, and they profit off that division. And they stoke the fires. And they do it for their own profit. And it's so f***ing gross.
Love him or hate him, Charlie Kirk wasn't a background figure. He was one of those voices you couldn't ignore, even if you wanted to. That's why Joe Rogan took a moment to add something personal. He explained that he had actually met Kirk once, not at a studio or an event, but at a gun range of all places. The memory stuck with him. He said Kirk was polite, thoughtful, even friendly. Not the loud, confrontational image you might see online or on TV. For Rogan, it was a reminder that the person behind the headlines isn't always the same as the character you get through clips and social media.
This has just happened. We just found out that Charlie Kirk got shot.
It's f***ing awful.
And is he dead?
That's what was just
one of the guys out there just said it was confirmed that he's dead.
In the lobby was just.
I've been looking. I haven't seen anything that said confirmed.
Whoa.
This isn't an edited clip for gaining views. It's a man hearing shocking news in real time, fumbling to confirm the details while the cameras are rolling. And here's where things take a strange turn. Because just as Joe Rogan is still processing what happened, Jon Bernthal pulls up something that makes the whole situation even more surreal. He says he saw a clip from MSNBC. In it, a host suggests maybe Kirk wasn't assassinated at all. Maybe it wasn't political violence. Maybe, the theory goes, it was just someone firing a gun in celebration.
That's it.
Yeah, if it was a supporter shooting their gun off in celebration.
What? Someone shot their gun off in celebration and killed them.
You shoot celebration guns in the air.
Imagine that. At a moment when details are scarce, when no one even knows the full story yet, the idea being floated is that it might have been a supporter accidentally firing off in the air, and a stray bullet killed him. Rogan's reaction says it all. Why twist something like this into a circus before the facts are even clear? Why throw out theories that sound more like a spin than a genuine attempt to understand what happened? To him, it felt like an intentional effort to frame the story in a way that fit a narrative rather than to wait and see what really happened. And this is the part that opens up a bigger conversation, because the clip isn't just about one news story. It's about what happens when violence stops being treated as tragedy and starts being treated like spectacle.
Don't know if it was a supporter shooting off a gun in celebration, because you know they do.
Right.
A lot of folks are just constantly out there shooting off guns at large gatherings in celebration.
Yeah, 4th of July, you can't leave your house.
What the f?
Joe Rogan points out that in some communities, celebratory gunfire is a real thing. 4th of July, New Year's evening, even in big rallies, people fire guns into the sky without thinking twice. But here's the reality. What goes up comes down. Bullets don't disappear, they land. And sometimes they land on people. He used that to underline just how careless and reckless the celebration idea really is. But then he zooms out. The bigger issue isn't just about one bullet or one theory, it's about how disturbing it is that some people actually cheer when a political enemy gets hurt. That's not politics, that's cruelty, and it's becoming more common.
There's going to be a lot of people celebrating this. It's so scary. It's so dangerous too, to celebrate or to in any way encourage this kind of behavior from human beings.
When Joe Rogan talks about this, it doesn't sound like a lecture. It's more like he's pointing out the obvious, something we've all noticed. Scroll through comments after any controversial figure gets into trouble, and you'll see people celebrating. The mindset has shifted from, I hope my side wins the argument, to, I hope the other side gets crushed, even if it means their life. That's not democracy. That's just bloodsport. And when cruelty becomes the default, people on both sides start asking themselves a scary question. Do I stay quiet so I don't become the next target? Or do I get louder, angrier, and more aggressive before someone comes after me? Joe and Jon start unpacking the ripple effect of something like this. It's not just about one person being targeted, it's about the shadow that falls over everyone watching.
Well, one of two things is going to happen. Either people are going to realize how insane this is, and we have to have a conversation about being able to have conversations.
Right.
Or it's going to get a lot worse. That's what's scary.
Rogan pulls the conversation wider, zooming out. He brings up the Kennedy assassinations. JFK's demise in 1963 shocked the country. RFK's in 1968 devastated a generation that thought maybe change was possible. These weren't just events. They shifted history. They made entire movements stumble. Jon adds in a modern example, the attempt on Trump's life. Whether you like him or not, the fact that someone took a shot at a former and possibly future president is chilling. It's proof that political violence isn't buried in history. It's alive. What's surreal is the way we consume it now. Back then, people waited for the evening news or the morning paper. Now, you watch it unfold in real time. Tweets, live streams, clips. Joe shakes his head and says, it's one thing to read about an assassination attempt in a book. It's another to see it play out on your phone, mid-podcast, while the guy's blood is still on the ground. Before the police even hold a press conference, networks are already pushing their opinion. Some outlets frame it one way, others frame it the opposite. And what they all have in common is that it's not really about truth. It's about engagement. It's about keeping eyes glued to the screen, clicks rolling in, and outrage bubbling just enough to make people tune back in tomorrow. And that's the hardest pill to swallow. Because instead of tragedy bringing people together, the media machine chops it up into bite-sized clips, feeds it into echo chambers, and uses it as fuel to keep the cycle going.
But I know people are going to celebrate it because this is a f***ed up time, and people have really fallen into this trap of us against them.
So what happens now? Joe Rogan prefers two possible futures. He says moments like this can go one of two ways. Option one is a wake-up call. People stop and realize how insane it's gotten, that killing someone over their beliefs isn't politics, it's chaos. In this path, folks demand a return to actual debate, to argument, to conversation instead of violence. It's not about agreeing, it's about refusing to normalize bloodshed as part of the political process. Option two is darker. It's the path where things get uglier. One attack leads to another. Retaliation becomes the new language. People stop listening and start preparing. More division, more anger, more blood in the streets. Stops being a disagreement over ideas and turns into a cycle of revenge. Jon points out that both paths are possible, but the choice is collective. You can already see the signs of each, people calling for peace and others doubling down with threats. Joe warns this moment could be a tipping point. If enough people shrug and let it slide, the darker option grows. If enough people speak up against violence, maybe the wake-up call lands. And that's where he leaves it, not with answers, but with a challenge. Joe ends on a simple but heavy note. Nobody deserves to be killed for their opinions, not Kirk, not anyone. He says the question isn't whether you agreed with Kirk's politics, his style, or his presence. The question is bigger. Have we lost the ability to argue without bullets? That's the real danger. That disagreement in America isn't just heated words anymore. It's turning into physical violence. And if people don't push back against that, if they let it slide, then it keeps growing until debate is replaced by fear. Joe Rogan's final point is sharp. If this doesn't shake people awake, there may not be another chance. The warning isn't about one man, it's about the direction of the whole country.